प्रकृतिं परमामभयां वरदां नररूपधरां जनतापहरां शरणागतसेवकतोषकरीं प्रणमामि परां जननीं जगतां गुणहीनसुतानपराधयुतान् कृपयाद्य समुद्धर मोहगतान् तरणीं भवसागरपारकरीं प्रणमामि परां जननीं जगताम् विषयं कुसुमं परिहृत्य सदा चरणाम्बुरुहामृतशान्तिसुधां पिब भृङ्गमनोभवरोगहरां प्रणमामि परां जननीं जगताम् कृपां कुरु महादेवी सुतेषु प्रणतेषु च चरणाश्रयदानेन कृपामयि नमोऽस्तु ते लज्जापटावृते नित्यम् शारदे ज्ञानदायिके पापेभ्यो नः सदा रक्ष कृपामयि नमोऽस्तु ते रामकृष्णगतप्राणां तन्नाम श्रवणाप्रियां तद्भावारञ्जिताकारां प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः पवित्रं चरितं यस्याः पवित्रं जीवनं तथा पवित्रता स्वरूपिण्यै तस्यै कूर्मो नमो नमः देवीं प्रसन्नां प्रणतार्तिहन्त्रीं योगीन्द्रपूज्यां युगधर्मपात्रीं तां शारदां भक्तिविज्ञानदात्रीं दयास्वरूपां प्रणमामि नित्यम् स्नेहेन बध्नासि मनोस्मदीयम् दोषान् शेषान् सगुणीकरोषि आहेतुनानोदयसे सदोषान् स्वां के गृहीत्वा यदिदं विचित्रम् प्रसीद मातर्विनयेन याचे नित्यं भव स्नेहवती सुतेषु प्रेमैकबिन्दुं चिरदग्धचित्ते विषिञ्च चित्तं कुरु न सुशान्तम् जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयोः श्रुत्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः प्रणमामि
Om Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadguru Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhur. Om Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadguru Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhur Muhur. In this session, we are going to mainly discuss mind management and how to handle negativity. Because as he rightly said, we are successful in everything we took up, isn't it? By God's grace, we have done well. You have done well. But mind can pose a very big challenge. We know it. In our own homes, we see it, isn't it? So if that one thing we are not able to manage, then our success will count for nothing, It comes to nothing finally. If we are utterly upset with our minds. Usually we don't use such language. We always say somebody made me like this. Somebody is responsible for my problem. But if the mind stays frustrated and very, very dissatisfied, there's no good experience of life, no matter what we have. Since we all know this, we will focus in this session only on mind management and handling negativity. How to do this. Because this wonderful life, you will lose a huge chunk of it if this is not done. And it's about time we paid attention to this aspect. Today, many, mental health experts, they contact us and they ask me point blank that what is the connection between spirituality and mental health? What is the connection between spirituality and mental health, and how do our thoughts affect our neurobiology? And when we don't see the connection, when you make a neuroscientific study, you don't see the connection. But we see it crystal clear when you lead a spiritual life. Spirituality and neuroscience are the first person and third person aspects of the same thing. Are you getting what I am saying?
Right.
So when you study it from the first person standpoint, first person perspective, you know the whole thing. Our thoughts have the power to change our brain. Our thoughts have the power to change our entire neural mechanism. Our thoughts have the power to... You have heard of neuroplasticity? Yes? How does it happen? Tell me. Through your thoughts. You can only change your brain through your thoughts, in your mind. That's what you are closest to. What's happening in your brain is still a third person perspective. The fMRI scan has to tell you what got fired where when you thought like this. But your thoughts are your thoughts, isn't it? Closest to you. So if this one thing we learn to handle, how to handle our thoughts, it's a huge gain, I'm telling you. You can do anything in life. But if this one thing we miss out, many things, after some time especially, after you turn 50, many things are just lacking in your life. Peace of mind is lacking, messy relationships, all kinds of interpersonal issues, and most of all, the stress. I can't handle my own body and mind. It's just got out of my hand. So then life is by, accident and chance, and I'm not in conscious control of anything. That's a very miserable way to live. When I need constantly entertainment to keep me engaged, otherwise I'll go crazy. When I need support systems everywhere, somebody to give me emotional support, otherwise I'll break down. Don't reduce yourself to these states. That is why understanding the connection between our thought and brain, between our emotion and our neurophysiology, and understanding completely how I can take charge of the whole thing is very, very important. I will give you some very important ideas from the first person perspective. See, I am not a huge scientist. I am not going to give you the third person version. You can find that out for yourself through your research. But from the first person perspective, this knowledge is so vital to a good life. And if you actually study the lives of these people, they only did the first person research. And they lived such satisfying, ecstatic lives, immersed in supreme bliss and God consciousness. So let us learn, take the cue from that it is possible to lead a very satisfying life if I have learned to handle my equipment first. It's not about knowing what is happening on Jupiter. We know all of that. What's happening in the farthest quasars. But what's happening in me, I don't know. What my mind is doing, I don't know. This is the problem. And this constant, the first thing that you have to stop to get this knowledge is just stop blaming the external. First practical point. You know how we are used to thinking, due to this happened to me. Due to that person, my emotion works this way. This is the general way we think. That I read a famous joke, There's this lady complaining to her friend. And she's saying very, very dramatically, she's saying, for years I wondered where my husband spent his evenings. For years I wondered where my husband spent his evenings. One evening I came home early and there he was. He was right there. You were the one who were. So we are like that. Reality is as it is. But our interpretation is, it can be very different. Because the mind is not stable. Mind is not in my hands. It's doing all sorts of things. So I will only blame the external. So first thing is you stop that. How will I find the solutions to these issues? Through myself. By diving within myself. This is all that we should care for and see. Because if I'm very stable within myself, no matter what is happening around me, it will not touch me too much. Look at her life. Have you read her life? It was like that. All sorts of half crazy, full crazy people around her, insulting her. Mother Sharda's life is a real example. All kinds of idiots around her. And yet how she maintained her composure, how calm, balanced and mature she was. And she radiated divinity. She transformed all of them in no time. Just by the power of her inner life. So you see, this essential thing should not be lacking. What is the means to this? This is where you see the connection between mental health and spirituality comes. Please understand certain facts about yourself. Then we'll go to the third person perspective. One thing is, how does your mind work? What creates your thoughts? Then, first thing I will tell you is the basic exposures you have throughout the day. You're constantly seeing things, hearing. So when you repeat them, when you are constantly in touch with something with your senses, they become thoughts in your mind. Isn't this true? You saw a movie today, over the next 1 week, the movie got replayed in your mind. You dwelt on the scenes again and again and again and again. Now, what have you done? You have created a picture into a part of your mind, into your thought. And when you repeat it, it becomes what we call a deep mental impression or sanskar. So I create my sanskars. When you repeat conscious thoughts, they become sanskars, they become mental impressions. Now, when they become mental impressions, they go and sit in your subconscious mind. And when they gather momentum there, they are pushed even more into the borderlines of the unconscious and they become your memories. So then you forget them. You forget that they are there. After some time, the memory is revived in the conscious. That's when you call it memory actually. When it gets revived and comes to the conscious plane. So your conscious thoughts it's nothing but a recycling of the thought process. Are you seeing? your own thoughts based on your sense information, data. So the thoughts you create in your mind go into the subconscious, become your sanskars or mental impressions. After some time, they go further in, they become your memories, then they fructify on your conscious plane. So your memories are constantly creating your next thought cycle. Now, how do you change this scenario? Just concentrate on what's happening in your inner world. No matter what our exposures are, I have the capacity to decide what to think, what to concentrate on, what to focus upon. If I focus upon the unessentials, the emotional melodrama of our life, where my ego is exaggerated or finds a good place, I usually focus on those experiences which feel good, which boost my ego. So those experiences you concentrate and make them your sanskars. Out of all the things that the world throws at us, that life throws at us, I pick and choose. And whatever helps me, do these things, feel good, boost my ego, and I convert them into my inner life. So if here you place a few filters and change these state of affairs, which means make your philosophy of life a little spiritual. I will concentrate on the essential good things, spiritual things of life, not on boosting my ego. I will concentrate on some high ideal and not on making myself feel pleasant and good all the time. If you just have this little bit of shift in the philosophy of your life, you will gather those experiences which are far more refined, elevating, ennobling, which make you feel really good. You perform a selfless act, you will start feeling glad, naturally. It's a great psychic law, You make somebody happy, you will get happy. There's no explanation to this. You perform a devotional act of worship or what, we are in a temple. You see how beautiful the vibes here are. How do you explain this? So the nature of your mind is, whatever it is exposed to, it has this tendency to gather a few of that information and exaggerate it, make it big in its mind. So learn to spiritualize life by gathering only the positive into your mind. The rest, don't treat your mind like a waste paper basket. Anything gets in, anything is digested and it comes out anyhow. Don't do that. So conscious gathering of the beauty of life, the beautiful things in life, devotion, good thoughts, kind feelings, service, attitudes of service, community service. Just do a little community. I'm sure many of you are serving here. How good it feels in the heart at the end of the day. So we conducted all these experiments with students, I can actually give you the fact figures of these experiments. One group was asked to just over the week to satisfy themselves. Another group was asked to do community service for a week. So these guys, the first group, they came after a week and said, we are totally bored. Because they only saw movies and ate pizzas and that's all they did. And the second group, they came and said, Mataji, initially it felt like we are missing out, that FOMO, FOMO. It felt like that, but at the end, we felt so good, Mataji, and that feeling has stayed with us. It will never leave you, that gladness. That is the glow on your face, that is the tej of your vital energy. So the good life, the noble life, the service-minded life will guarantee your mental health. This is what I'm telling you. There is the famous example of a doctor, anybody asked him how he was, he always said, I'm very well. Whole life, he rescued about 2,000 destitute children from rank poverty and educated them, fed them, did so much of community service. When he was 80, he Anybody asking him even at that age, how are you? He would say, I'm fine, how are you? Tell me. The entire focus is on helping others. That was the philosophy of his life. And then he came down with cancer, but he didn't realize it. Cancer had spread in his body. He didn't realize. Till the end, he kept saying, because his mind was so happy, you know. He kept saying, I'm fine, I'm doing fine. And when he passed on, everybody was full on, everybody was so sad. And they found cancer had spread in his body, but he himself never realized it. Because his mind was so glad, always. So there is a way to tackle the problems of life. You must take care of your mind. The body will automatically be taken care of. If you concentrate on the body and don't care for the mind, nothing will happen. See, this is the great secret. If I concentrate only on the body and didn't take care of my mind, didn't take care of the impressions I gathered there, didn't take care of my sanskars, what I converted into my memories and mental impressions, then I'll be in a real soup after a few years. Because mind affects body. Diseases are psychosomatic in nature. I don't have to explain these terms here, I'm sure. Your mind affects your body. Mind affects the way blood flows in your arteries. Mind affects your heartbeat, heart rate. Mind affects your blood pressure. Mind affects the release of hormones. Your thoughts do all of this. You can test and see when you're angry, how does it feel in the body? Oh, it feels terrible. If you're angry for a long time, you will get sick. So it's so very important to learn the ways of mind management. Otherwise, you can't take charge of your own happiness, no matter what you have. So the first thing that we've got to learn, stop blaming the external. It may be full of golmaal, it may be full of all sorts of things you don't want, but you can't change it. If you want now your kids to obey you or function the way you tell them, well, that's not going to happen. You know it. But what can happen is you develop a capacity to, it's called a level of tolerance and ambiguity management, that you are able to stay very stable no matter what they are doing. And in that position, when you tell them something, it even affects them very positively, Yes. When you are very stable yourself, and then from a exalted state of mind, if you tell them something, it will suddenly change them. But when you are on par with them, with their restlessness, nothing you say is going to work, isn't it? So we must learn to handle mind first. That is the most important thing. Stop blaming the external. Understand that your sense impressions and memories are creating the thoughts of your mind. Now, how to change these? I will change the philosophy of my life. The priority of my life will be something spiritual, devotion to God, service-mindedness, love and community service. Not gathering, I have 4 cars, but my neighbor has 5, so I will have 6. That cannot be the aim of life. So these are simple tips I am giving you, but they work magic in people's lives. This is the second point. The third point I want you to know is, if you are really intelligent, you will have emotional maturity. Because if there is no emotional intelligence, whatever intellectual acumen you have will go down the drain. What does emotional intelligence mean? I have the perfect capacity to have only positive emotion, no matter what my circumstance. I'm again pointing out to her life. She never lost her temper or paid back to anybody who ill-treated her. And there were all these cranks around her, I'm telling you. If you read her life, it appears really like it's an object lesson for her, for us to learn emotional intelligence. How is it possible for a person not to react and only react positively in such a situation? It is because her mind is so stable and her emotion is so sweet that it cannot exude anything but that fragrance. Now this is a spiritual attitude. This has nothing to do with... She remained in touch with God consciousness. So she exuded that fragrance everywhere. So if I don't develop my inner life, my meditative life, my life of what I told you, kind and concerned service of others, I will not develop this depth and sweetness of emotion which then I can give others in any situation. Especially in a family, you will have to develop the capacity. The family is meant to teach you that. Have to develop the capacity to handle everyone beautifully, sweetly, to accept everyone as they are, not as you want them to be. For that, the sweetness of your emotion is the most important thing. That is what a mother means, isn't it? We are all, whether we are men or women, we are expected to be mothers in the family. Mother-like attitude, and it will change the child. Any other attitude will not work. So, how to manufacture this? If I have a level of emotion so pure and high and refined that no matter what is being thrown at me, I can exude that, I can throw that, then I can definitely keep the family at peace, I can make those changes. This may appear very hard for you, but it is not that hard. If you have developed the inner life, the spiritual life, because then you know your priorities, your heart is somewhere else. From there you are getting the energy to do all this. It's not an exchange or investment in the external. The spiritual is not that, isn't it? You have developed yourself in such a way, cultivated your inner life in such a way, you are sweet no matter what, because that's your nature now. So this works magically in a family, if at least one person is like that, isn't it? Otherwise, that billiard ball thing is always there. Keep clashing. And then you get tired of it after some time. Family is meant for the all-round growth of every individual. If that is not happening, what's the point? So it depends entirely on your inner life. How you have cultivated your... Most people don't have an inner life. That is the problem. The other members in the family are not the problem. I don't have an inner life to strengthen me. That is my problem. So, develop these little things at home. The power of meditation. It will keep your mind always calm and stable, no matter what. If you can't still your mind, you will kill your mind. I'm telling you, if you can't still yourself and taste the joy of meditation, life will just attack you from all sides. It is the power of meditation which gives you the ability to remain calm and stable always. So meditation must be made a habit. Fourth point is that just like how emotional maturity is required, meditation is required. What is meditation fundamentally? It is not about my thoughts. It is about emptying mind. It is about removing thoughts from your mind. Then what remains? You go to sleep? No. Awareness remains over. If you truly meditate, you will become intensely aware without thoughts. That is meditation. Yogasto chitta vritti nirodh. It is the stopping of the vrittis of your mind. To what effect? Tada drashta swarupe avasthanam. So that the witnessing consciousness goes back to its source. You become fully aware. If that is not happening and you are falling asleep, that is not meditation. So take care of this. Meditation will make you fully conscious, fully aware. And you know, awareness without thoughts is the source of strength, mental strength. It's the source of all balance. So, are you able to generate this state every day? Then life will become beautiful, magical. Otherwise, the external rules again. So meditation is to be made a habit. If you study their lives, you will see every day time was devoted for meditation from a young age. Of course, Thakur and all lived in the state of samadhi. Why is this important? You want to taste life, isn't it? The real taste of life. Please understand these equations. Life means the vitality of your being. You can be fully vital only if you are fully aware. If you live an unconscious life, your vitality will reduce. Unconscious life means life given to, media addiction, drinks, drugs, where I am not in charge of anything, something is controlling me. But your vitality will go. You will not taste life. Somebody's commercial enterprise is ruling your head, your emotions, directing your emotions. What's the point? So, all this is connected. That is why I told you, your mental health and your spiritual development is directly connected. You don't need to take fMRI scans of a brain that is meditating to know how it feels. There was this experiment conducted in New York University long back, I think 2009 or something, where Tibetan monks, the meditative state they wanted to study, the meditative mind, what exact brain waves it is giving out. So you know about the brain waves, isn't it? The meditative state gives out very high gamma radiation. Now, when they subjected these monks to a lot of electrodes were fixed, and they were all elderly monks who were used to lot of meditation. When they went into the meditative state, you know how they went? Just one thought of loving kindness they had to think of it, and they went into the pristine, pure state of meditation. And the entire prefrontal cortex on the scan, it ignited. And the neurophysiologists who were taking the scans, they said, this guy is the happiest man in the world. No doubt. Because his entire prefrontal cortex has ignited. The gamma radiation is so high. The state of meditation. They even rated it on a rating scale from 1 to 9, the level of happiness they felt within themselves. Imagine, it was a felt bliss and a vivid experience for them. Because it's a first person experience. They are feeling it. And the third person perspective also is very clear. It showed very high level of happiness and an empty mind. So try to understand, you are capable of these states. You are perfectly capable of these states. I teach neurophenomenology in some universities. Neurophenomenology is that science where you track first person perspective and third person at the same time. So you know what you are doing and your brain is doing at the same time. When you track these two together, you will see an interesting correspondence between the two. So through meditation, you can feel these states yourself. I can give you the instance of Sri Ramakrishna's life. When he went into high states of ecstasy, samadhi, his face appeared like it would crack with happiness. Such a blissful aura he had around him. And all those who were around him experienced something of that state. You just have to look into his eyes to see they were swimming in bliss, and you would be touched by that bliss. And one day somebody asked him that, how do you feel exactly in the state of samadhi? And he said, if you released a small fish which is in a pot into the ocean, how it would feel? Something like that, he said. There is no mistaking consciousness when it is pure. You know who said this? It's not my statement. It's a statement of Raman Maharshi. There is no mistaking consciousness when it's pure. You can taste that state of pure awareness by yourself. All these temples, this worship, everything is meant for you to taste that. All worship forms of Hinduism, they are meant for that. So what is the point if we do all this and miss out the essential? God is happiest when you do it yourself and it happens within you. So this first person research methodology is what is meditation actually. And if you practice it every day, it will help you grow from within. The meditative mind is the most intelligent mind. It develops your intelligence like you can't imagine. It's a different order of intelligence. Doesn't fall into the 9 categories which you study in college. It's a intuitive. Today it's called existential intelligence. It will show you the bare truths of your existence, the feel of your being. If all this is not there, really I'm telling you, the mind will mess up with life, with your life. Because it never touched its reality, its foundation, which is awareness. It never got to touch that. See, a child which has never lived in its home, how will it behave? It never got a home. Your mind is behaving like that. So it's always dissatisfied, no matter what it has. Always frustrated. Always messy. Your home is in the self. It's your heart, your being. It never touched that. So it is doing all these antics. Crying at everything. Shouting. Yelling. So meditation, if you have not got used to meditation, you are not yet living life. It's like that. That's the equation. So you see 4 points I told you. All this, what will help you culture all this? The spiritual practice, sadhana. जिस जीवन में साधना नहीं, वो जीवन ही नहीं है. Where there is no sadhana, where you don't put your foot down and say, I will do this on an everyday basis. I will not give the reins of my life into somebody's hands. The remote control will be in my hands. Until you say this, you will not lead life as it should be led. So your life, if it is to be in your hands, there must be some amount of sadhana. Sadhana means this. I bring my vitality, my mind into a level of control. A level of regulation. It's so regulated, I am able to get the best experiences of life. Commit yourself to this. And then see if mind management is a problem. Your mind will sparkle with intelligence. The beauty of yoga is yoga yogena jnatavyo yoga yoga. It will itself teach you everything you need to know. Your own mind teaches you. Your mind is your guru. But an uncontrolled mind is a real terror. It can lead you anywhere. That's why the mind can create a heaven out of hell and a hell out of heaven, isn't it? Check and see. So life is like that. It is entirely up to your mind. In Vaishnava initiation, they always say this. Everything the Guru gives you, but at the end your mind. Mana eva manushyana karanam bandha mokshayoh. It is the cause for your bondage and the cause for your liberation. The cause for your happiness, the cause for your misery. The cause for the beauty of life and the cause for the misery of life. How you handle your mind, what you fed it with, what you converted into sanskars, that is what matters. That's why you see every day how much time do you spend in all this? A little spiritual culture. If you're really intelligent, you will culture this. Otherwise it's okay. Mediocre life, okay, what to do? Reins in somebody's hands. Better select a good person and keep to handle my life. That's all you can do. So if we are truly intelligent, bring spiritual culture into your homes, into your family. If you do it intensely, as parents, if you do it intensely, the child will pick up. If not now, after 10 years, he or she will pick up. You can't force anybody. In this country, you can never even tell anybody. Because by 12, they have their own mind and their own life. But in India, still, all this is like a tradition, they try to maintain it. But here you can't do all that. But at least if you are doing it intensely at home, the impact keeps falling because he's seeing you, The child is seeing you. So it will keep falling on him. And naturally, one day you will see he feels the truth of this. At least he will say in his life, oh yes, my dad used to do it. My mom used to do this. He'll feel proud of it. So bringing spiritual culture into your homes is very important. If you keep Ramayana in your home, some level of exposure to your children, you don't have to teach them relationship psychology tomorrow. They will learn it automatically. They will learn values automatically. Isn't there a connection between mental health and spirituality? No, but you want $1 million research to prove this. You don't want to listen to us. This is what they are doing in India also, I'm telling you. But it is so obvious that, I offer courses in IIT Delhi. Every semester there's a course. It's all on YouTube. It's called like Science of Happiness and all mind management, all this. So at the end of the course, they all say, Mataji, we don't need that third person research. It is pretty obvious that we can't do without this. So take care of your mind. See, there are techniques. Today morning I spoke of Gayatri. That mantra is a huge way of handling your mind. These worship forms, they are now, if you are engaged in a small puja, at that time your vrittis are all divinized. Isn't it a gain? What God gains we don't know by your puja, but you gain a lot. Yes. You do it with devotion, your mind is renewed, your energies are get renewed. So bring all this into your life and get the real taste of life. Why should you lose on all this? I'm telling you. I have seen people who, actually speaking, we don't have anything of the world, and nothing worth mentioning. But we are so happy within ourselves. How? The vitality has been kept at a pitch. It translates into awareness in your system. You're deeply aware. Awareness is bliss. Sat Chit Anand means this. Sat is Chit. Chit is Anand. So you must learn to become independent of circumstance and things and people. Then you welcome them into your life. But not that, I can't live without you. Can you trust the idiot who says, I can't live without you? I'm asking you frankly. If he's so unstable that he can't live without you, how can you trust him? You trust your life with him. So if somebody can say, I can do very well without anybody, yet I welcome you into my life. Because I want to share my joy. That's a really mature attitude, isn't it? That's a reliable person. So all this cinema culture which teaches you, I can't live without you, look at it closely and see it for yourself. You must think clearly. It will come only through meditation. A person who is not stable within himself can never bring stability into another life. So first, the inner life. It is part and parcel of education. Today, these courses are not special courses, electives. No. Compulsory, mandatory to every life. Because if I can't handle my mind, but I can handle every machine on the planet. I can go anywhere, but I can't peer into my mind. Then that's a serious problem, I'm telling you. I should first know everything about myself. How my thoughts work, how my emotions work, how my vitality is functioning within me, and what is my awareness about? Who am I truly? Then I will know who you are and what the world is about. So this was part of Vedic culture. The first ashram, Brahmacharya ashram, what was called, it was meant for self-knowledge. First you know everything about yourself. Stabilize yourself. We have lost touch with this. This is the whole problem. And modern life is such, it's a consumeristic culture, you see. Because when you don't get any satisfaction from within yourself, you only want to grab from the outside. So we've created a whole culture of that. And it will consume you first if this inner stability is not there. Unnecessary fears, worries, this panic, stress, and intolerance. I don't mean any other form of intolerance, but not being able to tolerate your own emotions and worries and anxieties. This is the biggest issue in your life. Check it out and see. It's not the Russia-Ukraine war. It's not to do with the economy. It is to do with your inner life. And if I am stable and very, very balanced within myself, fully aware, vitally alive, whatever happens in the external, even if there was a huge war, I would still find a stable solution to it, because within myself I am safe and secure. So I want this level of security to come into every life. That is why all this work is going on. I'm working with a whole lot of universities actually, because our young people, not one of them will tell me that, well Mataji, this was, why should I take this course? Not one of them say that. They all feel it's extremely essential. How can we do without this? I'm not sure what their parents think, but they think like this now. And they have understood the importance of this, because you feel the truth of your being within yourself first. See, once I asked my students this simple question, tell me what feels most fundamental to your experience. Is it your thought? Is it your emotion? Is it your awareness? Is it your body? Or is it objects in the world? Multiple choice. What feels most fundamental to your experience of yourself? They thought for a minute, and one child said, one boy said, Mataji, it's awareness. Then I said, think again, is it not thought? No, Mataji, thoughts come in my awareness. See, he found it by himself. And then they all said, yes, it is awareness. This is Vedanta. Vedanta is in the very structure of your experience. You don't require a book to teach you Vedanta. That the fact that you are conscious is because there is consciousness within you. You are the consciousness that makes your mind conscious. Vedanta is in the structure of your experience itself. You are the Atman functioning through body and mind. How obvious it is. But I thought I was only the body. That's my mistake, isn't it? So let's not make these childish mistakes. Take life like that. You take the world in your stride if you understand these principles about your own life. And then you can apply the principles of positive thinking, whatever. You know the principles of positive thinking? They are 3 in number. I'll just mention them and then we'll take the Q&A. First principle of positive thinking is, what you repeatedly think, you will become. So if I repeatedly think about myself as being of, my very nature is divine, all strength is within me, all power is within me, I will find that in my experience. And if I repeatedly think I'm a good for nothing, everybody's out to get me, I'm a super flop, I will become that. Because I give my thoughts power. I believed in some such thing. So what you repeatedly think, you will become. Second principle is, what you repeatedly feel, you will experience. It may not even be true, but you will experience it. You have fear or panic of something. It so grips your mind, you have passed through an experience although it never happened. One humorist has said this, my life is full of disasters, most of which never happened. So many of us, it's true. My life is full of miseries which never happened. Your thoughts and emotions, you're messing up with your life. So what you repeatedly feel, you are going to experience in your system. And what you repeatedly imagine, you will create it in the external world. Isn't this true also? See, look at every object around us. It was a thought in somebody's mind. He thought of it so much, he produced it. The carpet, the walls, the table, these pictures, they were thoughts initially in some mind. Today they are objects around you. What you repeatedly imagine, you will create. So how important is your imagination? And to whom are you giving it? You are allowing the external to manipulate all of this. How will you be at peace? So please understand, the inner life has to be cultivated. It's a constitutional necessity. It's not a choice. And the state of pure awareness is your default state. It is not a special state. You have to cultivate it, invent it through meditation. It is your default state. If you empty mind, you will find yourself to be that. So cultivate the inner life, that is real maturity in life. And all of these points which I mentioned, what did I mention? First, stop blaming the external. Second is the importance of mind management and its techniques. Third is emotional intelligence and how to manufacture that. And fourth is meditation, the power of meditation. Fifth is bringing those habits into your homes. Not just in temple Sunday talk, we discussed all this. So if you do this much, your mind will be in your hands. What can be more joyful than that? That is the fulfillment of worship. Devam bhutva devam yajet, they say. You know, the godly can worship God. So first the mind should become godly. These are the ways to do it. And you will get the real taste of life. The real thing. Okay, let's end the talk here. We take up your Q&A. Yes.
I want to ask about meditation. Everybody now has a programmed meditation with a yoga mat in particular time. When I do puja, silently after lighting diya with closed lips, I chant something inside for 10 minutes, 20 minutes according to my time. That is meditation enough?
Yes, why not? Why not?
Yes.
See, what is meditation? It is about making the vrittis of your mind sattvic, so sattvic that they dissolve and the luminosity of your awareness remains. You can do it through puja wonderfully.
Yes.
Puja will culminate in the meditative state, no doubt. So don't give up on these things. Ritual is meant to condition the mind towards the highest.
Yes.
Why should you give it up?
Yes.
We should not become so over-intellectual that we don't take such aims. Yes. Many people are like that, they only will do that, think that, and then nothing else actually in practical life. So don't do that.
And another thing, what you all taught now, somewhere I read inner engineering, are both same?
Inner engineering is Sadhguru's special technique.
That's what. I didn't want to mention the name.
Yes.
Are both the same?
Well, I haven't read that.
Okay.
I just talk about what I have known through my spiritual journey, and I try to make it as practical as possible to people.
Yes.
Where you can practice it actually. No use knowing many things in this, It's not information, data-based inquiry that we want. We want to do something in everyday life that the life becomes sattvic and capable of experiencing these things. So it will naturally be, there will be similarities because he's also a yogi. Yogis all speak same language. Because the inner experience will be the same.
They just cater differently to different public.
Yes,
Put
exactly.
it a different dress. That's it.
Ekam Sat,
Huh.
Viprabhuda. Yes. Yes.
Can you elaborate the emotional intelligence? Like that? What I understand is like it's a positive thinking or positive reaction.
Yes.
Or it's something else.
Yes. Emotional intelligence is the most important form of intelligence. Because I told you that lacking, all other intelligence just falls away. What is emotional intelligence? Capacity to keep your emotions positive. What is positive emotion? See, emotion is nothing but a thought with feeling. Now, we leave our thoughts thinking that what the thought is about should guide the feeling about it. No such thing. In emotional intelligence, you are taught to manufacture the feeling within yourself and superimpose it on the object. What do I mean by that? See, a beautiful looking rose will make you very happy. Suppose the rose is crumbling. It doesn't evoke any emotion within you. But if you have the memory of a beautiful rose and if you have a beautiful emotion in your heart, you will say, oh, this rose must have been so beautiful. Isn't it? Emotional intelligence will teach you all that you require to know about life. It will teach you the difference between love and attachment. What is the difference between love and attachment? See, if I love a rose and if I am attached to a rose, how will I behave differently? Tell me. If you are only attached to the rose, you will pluck it and wear it. If you love the rose, you will water the plant and make it bloom fully.
You like to watch it.
You love it for what it is, not for your purposes. Isn't it? So in human relationships also we do this. Attachment means he or she should become as I want him to be. Otherwise how? What's the point? What's the point in bringing him to the world? What's the point really in arguing like this? So please understand, in attachment you will destroy the relationship. You must be detached to love. The words may appear harsh, some people get frightened with detachment. How will I run my family if I am detached? You will only run your family if you are detached. Otherwise you want everyone to be like you and to do what you say. And you want to be the dictator actually. But you don't want to use that word.
Actually, practically that's possible after we become seniors. Because after we become seniors only...
Which means she admits when you are young, you are
yes. Because that time they think we are good for nothing and they won't listen at all. Then we slowly become detached, learn detachment.
No, it's not like that. If you learn detachment in old age, your life has gone.
No, practically it's happening like that. We maybe like those who are like in your life you take up.
No, I have seen many householders who have developed this attitude to life that every child is a soul in evolution. Isn't it? It will evolve by its own laws. Now you want to impose your laws on that soul, it will not obey.
But Mataji, then how do you, you know my age and my children, how do you not influence and guide?
No.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Where lies, how much should be your influences? See, you know how values are picked up by that young mind? Think of your own early childhood. You caught values. You didn't listen. You were not taught values. You don't listen to them. Somebody telling you. But you will catch it when you see it. So create the ambience in your home, a value-based ambience, that the child will catch it unconsciously. But if you make him sit and tell him, come on, this is what you should do from tomorrow morning to night. why will he listen? And he shouldn't listen also. Because it has to creatively evolve by itself. Tomorrow he will make his choices by himself. If only today you have put before him what is the way you made your choice. If he saw that, you kept Shreyas rather than prayers. If he saw that much in your choice, tomorrow he will make the right choices. Leave it to him. That's why, the only responsibility of parents is to give this influence, this much, that he sees some ideal in you. More than that, you really can't do anything.
My daughter says that you like the way you do the things,
Yeah.
but we don't.
Yeah.
And that is something that I always think that how do I relate to that, and how do I give up? Because all around the years I've lived in one way, and now this girl is like older and telling me that you like things in your way.
That's what I was saying.
No, all children do that. They will say, oh, you like it your way, and I'll do it my way. So give them that space. See, that child,
Yeah.
and she will also respect your space.
Oh no, they do. They
Yeah.
do respect.
Yeah.
But that this is the thing that happens
Yeah.
time to time. Oh, Mom, you're doing so many good things, but you like your way.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
See, we live in this capitalist world, right? Capitalistic society, and like supposing you have a spiritual path, like you have ups and downs.
Yes.
Like sometimes you feel very spiritual, your path is going very well, then suddenly it dips, you are not that motivated. You have problems in this material world coming onto you.
Yeah.
How do you balance your life so that you continuously keep yourself motivated in the spiritual path,
Yeah.
and balance everybody around you?
To keep yourself continuously motivated, you must have these influences falling on you continuously. That's why satsang is. Today you have lots of satsangs from YouTube. Everybody is doing that. In the remote corners of the world, of today's world, the YouTube is the gati. They tell me that without that now we can't live. Because every day some form of that influences, you should keep hearing, or even when people are driving, when they don't have time, they keep hearing. Some such thing you should keep, which constantly drives the mind towards this. That is very important. Otherwise,
The thing is, we don't have a personal guru, like access to somebody who we can.
no, even if you had a personal guru, he is not going to be in your life all the time.
Because there are so many people and gurus are less.
No, it's not that. It is actually, you see, he is a guru who makes his disciple also independent of him. Isn't it? You must learn to balance yourself by yourself. And for that, for this motivation to be perpetual in your heart, learn to turn to the source and keep in touch with these things on a daily basis. That is definitely recommended. Some form of small ritual at home also can be introduced, like Aarti. Many families do this. So all the children have to stand. Only Aarti time they will be there. So some impact falls on them also. And you also have some way of connecting. At least you know that is the aim of life, that is the goal of life. Somewhere that thought will come up. So it will keep you going with it. And of course, life's challenges you can face only when the mind is in a happy state, isn't it? So how to keep the mind? Happiness is a huge science, I'm telling you. Learn the essentials of it. What makes us happy? What actually makes us happy and independent of objects? So if you can find that out for yourself, you will invent ways to keep your mind like that.
So it all starts with the thought, right?
Yes.
And then you have to develop and
Yes, but I would say the meditative thought, the thought you get after your spell of meditation will be the most mature ones. Until they get diluted by the everyday activities.
life. Okay.
Yes, my question is, my grandson, he is only 4 years old, 4.5 years. And when I go to my puja, I did the arti, ashirwad, like that. He was looking, but he wanted to flew that, like a candle, like a birthday candle. But he never did that.
Yes.
I told no, I take out from, no flu. After some day, some months, not every day, my youngest son, he had 2 kids. A small one is obey, looking what my brother is doing. But they never touch it.
Yes.
Because I'm scared about they're going to touch and burn their hand. But they never. So one day I forgot to blow that. It was burning and they come and open my door, come inside and they are looking, but they do not blow that. So they are trying to play there. This is surprise to me. This is wonderful. I'm so happy. So what is that?
Child is such a sensitive thing. Oh, child is the father of man. They have a lot of sensitivity. Only thing is we don't culture it, and so over time the mind can go in different ways. Children are very sensitive. Even animals are so sensitive. Where we perform Aarti, we had a dog. He would come and stand Aarti time. Yeah. Who told him now? Nobody told him. He doesn't even know what Aarti is. But he comes, something is going on, something divine there.
And they like that.
They like that.
They like their blessing. That is, they remember me when I go. Their grandma.
Exactly. See, these sanskars are more important than the bank account you will leave for your son. I'm telling you, because this will teach him about the inner life, about the stillness that his mind is capable of, about devotion to God. What more can you give him than this? So bring something of this into your homes. Don't keep a home where this is absolutely not there. Just like they say, a home without a garden is no home. A home where there is no worship of God is no home. The essential thing is missing. So stick to it. Bhagavad Gita, many people keep Bhagavad Gita in their homes, and at some point your child will see it. What is there in that? When he's a teenager, he will see it. And he will understand it was something important kept at home. So the reverence you will show for these things will impact the next generation in a big way. Isn't it? Yes?
I love the way you simplify things and explain things and make it within our fingers' reach. I love that. But tell me, if you self-analyze and only thing you find inside is full of problems, you never get to that blissful, pure state. What do you tell them?
That's a beautiful question. See, this is the reason why people are reluctant to enter a full spiritual life. Because you don't see it within yourself. There are so many songs on this actually. So when you find this to be the state of affairs, you must just take refuge in a spiritual person. In one who has found the way. Because if they are talking of a state which you are capable of but you are not getting, then you just take refuge in the person, because spiritual people are usually very kind and compassionate, and the reason why they are there is to share their experience with others. Take refuge in God, take refuge in the spiritual. This is where lies the importance of ashramas and gurus, and because it will lead your mind into that. That influence is so powerful. that over time you will see your tendencies will change. There is no other way. So that's why they say, no, the real wealth is when you have found such a person. The real wealth is when you have found a person who inspires kindles your spirituality. And the real wealth is the devotion to God that you get as a result. So if you are not even finding that, pray for it. Pray for it. Pray to God that andar to kalima se bhara hai. Give me light. Somehow show me the light, and He will bring it into your life.
You have suggested that awareness is pure and blissful, but you also heard that ignorance is bliss too.
Where ignorance is blissful, it's a folly to be wise.
But if you cultivate a child's mind and look at the world as a lila or as a playground, you're able to enjoy life so much better than try this advanced awareness where everything is, you're responsible for everything.
See, that way of enjoying the world as lila will not give you inner fulfillment. For the simple reason, yes, you have to touch it within yourself at some point in your life. Then, yes, it is a lila, there's no doubt about that. But if you just take it to be a lila, a play, well, let me also play, it's nothing serious. But at the same time, I didn't get anything within myself. You know, if you are not satisfied within yourself, the only way to satisfaction will be the external. Then you will not take it as a plaything, you will be dead serious about it. You know? Because there's no other means to satisfaction. When you don't get bliss, you will take pleasure very seriously. Believe me. When you have bliss within yourself, then you understand the place of these toys. So you can't take the world as Leela just like that. It depends on your inner growth and spirituality. The simple thing I will tell you, as devotees, if you yearn for spirituality, it will come into your life. Thakur used to say, that longing should be there. Vyakulata, he used to call it. Vyakulata. He only prescribed that one thing. He said, well, if you just have that this is possible, seeing their lives, we know it is possible, isn't it? Now, how do I bring it into my life? So, through prayer, through whatever, your everyday actions, your seva, if you can express that, He will bring it into your life. How much God can do for His devotees, you can't imagine. He will turn your life around. Just today morning we were listening to that wonderful story. While we were driving here, I'll tell you a beautiful story and maybe we can end this session there. It is a true story. How many of you have gone to Vrindavan? Not many. You should please go to Vrindavan. When you are in India, whenever you go there, visit Vrindavan. The biggest temple there, the most vibrant, famous Jagrat temple is Banke Bihari temple. It's in the heart of Vrindavan. So the image there, it is so vibrantly alive that everyone there who lives around there will tell you some story about it, that how he came into their lives, all this was there, okay? So you may think it is some kind of their imagination, myth, whatever, but there is a story connected with why Banke Bihari is like that and how you have his darshan. You know how you have his darshan? When you enter the temple, there's always such a crowd, you will be pushed in and then pushed out. So then when you see the deity, when you see the image, you will see it only for a few seconds. Then they put that jhaki darshan, they say. They put a kind of veil, a parda, screen over the image. Then after a few seconds they will remove it. You saw it for another 2-3 seconds, again the jhaki. Again, then you feel, why can't I have a direct vision? You know why you can't have a direct vision of him? He is God whose living presence is there. He will just melt and go away with the devotee. Yes, he's such a love. He's Krishna, no? Yes, he just go away with the devotee, and this actually happened. This story is there. It's on record, and it's a old story of Vrindavan. Everybody knows it. See, the story goes like this. There was this young orphan girl many centuries back when we were under Muslim invasion. So this girl, her only job was she used to make garlands for Banke Bihari every morning, and she would sell the garlands to the priests and to decorate Banke Bihari. So that filled her heart with love. Every morning she would do it with so much love, and her secret desire was one day she should put the mala on him. That was her secret desire of her heart, but they wouldn't. She was an outcast, so they wouldn't allow her to do that. And every day she would deliver the garlands, the malas, and every day she would put one extra mala with this deep desire that this is especially I want to put it on your neck, but they won't allow me, so I offer it here. So one extra mala would go every day. Now, one day what happened was she was allowed into the temple. She somehow sneaked her way to the temple, and it happened that when she stood in front of the Lord and had direct darshan of him like that, she was so devoted, such a pure soul that Banke Bihari, man hi man. Unhone kaha, you all know what man hi man is. He told in her mind that I am going with you, come on, let's go and have a good time. And let's leave these priests behind. So it so happened that that night, her devotion was such that quietly the Lord followed her. The image disappeared from there. The priest had closed the temple by then, okay? And the image has disappeared, and her home was somewhere like a slum, somewhere in the corner in Vrindavan. So quietly the Lord made his way there, and that evening, that night, like it was like Ras Leela there. All the gopis gathered, and this girl participated in that. She put chandan and mala, everything on Krishna. He played with her, they laughed, they ate, they danced the whole night.